this is a little bit inappropriate, but I'm just going to tell you a story. This is a true story. We moved down to Georgetown. My father got a job with the Venezuelan embassy, and I was in second grade, and we lived on P Street at 3268 P Street. And across the street from us, John and Robert Kennedy lived in a townhouse together. And, you know, I didn't know that they were Kennedys. There were those two guys, and Joey Sauer and Billy and Jimmy Rubel, we used to go and try and steal their goldfish and they'd chase us out of the backyard. But anyway, one Sunday I had gone to church and I rode back on my bike, and for some reason I was across the street, and I had, you know, it was just a sidewalk and there was no lawns, and it was like they had the townhouse. Again, I didn't know these guys at all. My father knew John Kennedy because of his work in the embassy. Anyway, it's about 9:30 in the morning, and I have my hand, I'm sitting, you know, on my bike on my two-wheeler, resting on the side of their house, and there's a window, you know, long window right there, and I could see right into the window, you know, it's right there. There was a living room, and then there was another room back there, and I guess I'm about in second grade. What are you, 7, 8 years old? And I'm there, and one of the guys was there just in boxer shorts, not in the living room, in the room past. And all of a sudden, a woman comes and turns, facing way back in the other room, and she was totally naked. It was the first naked woman I ever saw. And one of the guys, whoever it was, they embraced and fell off towards the side and went out of sight. And I remember riding my bike down to Joey Sauer's place, and say, "Joey, you wouldn't believe what I saw." But, you know, when she talked about, you know, singing the song to John Kennedy, and, you know, he was right across the street, and of course, at that age, that makes a big impression. And, you know, Owen and Pearson, I know that you can appreciate that. Anyway, Joni, you will too soon. Anyway, that's the first time, you know, anyway, that was the John Kennedy story. But it was really interesting living in Georgetown, because one of my good friends was Bertie Pell. I don't know why they call him Bertie, but that was Senator Clayton Pell's son, and he lived around the corner. And I used to go jogging. Senator Pell would get one of the guys, one of the two brothers, I didn't know who it was, and we used to go up to this playground on Saturdays, and we would all climb over the fence, and the two guys, Senator Pell, I didn't know him was Senator Pell, you know, it was Bertie's father, and this other guy, they would go jogging. And it was many, many years later, I was reading some memoirs from Robert Kennedy. And he used to say that, you know, he used to go jogging with Senator Pell, his son, and one of the neighborhood kids. Well, I was the neighborhood kid. But, you know, these are all the little things about growing up in Washington. And we used to ride our bikes down to the White House on the southwest side, climb over the fence, and run through the bushes, and run through the lawn into the bushes. We're touching the White House. And then the guards would chase us away. And we used to ride up where the vice president, you know, and the Speaker of the House, when the president gives a State of the Union, we used to sit up in those chairs, and we used to, you know, call our friends. And I got down underneath and wrote my name, and I've wanted to go back and see if my name was still up underneath there. But, you know, growing up in Washington, D.C., you know, you also saw part of history, you know, because you're there in the making. And so, you know, it was really a great, great childhood and a lot of experiences, you know, growing up in Washington. So when she was singing about the song, I remember when Marilyn sang that to the president, I remember when you know, I'm not sure whether it was John or Robert, but anyway, I wasn't really focused on the guy that much. Anyway,
filled with great stories. I want to get a couple bottles of wine, get all my brothers and in-laws and everybody, and put them at a big round table over like next year's Thanksgiving, just hit a tape recorder for a few hours and have them tell these stories and write a mini book or something like that. You have a lot of great experiences, Dad, and that adds a lot to your character. That's why you're such a great guy.